Justin Hawkins writes again. Good day to you, it is I, Justin Hawkins. This is Justin Hawkins Writes Again, my YouTube channel. Don't forget to like, subscribe, sign up for the alerts. Today I'm doing another album which is literally top to bottom bangers. Every single song on it is take your face off brilliant. And it's from 1984, just like the Bryan Adams one that I spoke about a couple of weeks ago. A few weeks ago. So this is Van Halen's 1984. It's their 6th studio album, released on the Warner Brothers Record Company, which is a cracking label, loads of big stuff on there. It was produced by Ted Templeman, and is recorded in Eddie Van Halen's 5150 studio in California. Most people know this record, I think. I know Jump anyway, the really, really omnipresent mega song. There isn't a rock disco complete without that. It's a floor filler. I think it's their summer of '69, if you will. It's impossible to dislike that song. And it's got a great guitar solo in it, and a really iconic synthesizer part, and it rocks, and you can sing along to it. I just love it. The video's amazing too. I used to have a DVD of all the Van Halen videos, and I just loved the way they interacted with each other. Brilliant. Alex Van Halen's an amazing drummer as well. It's just a brilliant band, really. I suppose David Lee Roth and Eddie Van Halen are kind of like the early 80s Mick and Keith, really. It reached number 2 on the Billboard 200 album chart and remained there for 5 weeks behind Michael Jackson's Thriller, on which guitarist Eddie Van Halen made a guest performance on the song Beat It, remember? I listen to that song a lot, actually. I have to, because there's a child that's often in my company that always insists on playing it. I don't mind one bit. And Ted Templeman, if you remember, the producer of 1984, said, "It's real obvious to me why 1984 won Van Halen a broader and larger audience. Eddie Van Halen discovered the synthesizer." Brilliant quote. Okay, so let's have a listen through. I just can't believe how good this record is. It's always amazing to hear it. Timeless. It's a timeless classic, despite, you'd think with all that sort of 80s production, it would only exist sort of firmly and as a sort of 80s thing and as a, I don't know, like a nostalgia piece, but I think these songs are really timeless. So let's have a listen. First track, 1984. It's kind of like a synth intro. Gets a bit Giorgio Moroder, a little bit sort of space age soundscapery. I was DJing one night and I went to play Jump, but I accidentally played this track instead, which goes into Jump, and everybody on the dance floor just stopped and looked wistfully at me as if, what the fuck is this? And then sort of looked around as if I kind of feel like I recognise it. It's dramatic. What will happen next? Then it goes into this, and people scream, taking their tops off and throwing their hats in the air. Jump is, everyone knows Jump. That's the unmistakably brilliant mega song on this record. But there's other stuff in there like Panama. But that riff, that could exist on an AC/DC song from the same sort of era. I mean, it's played in a totally different way. And obviously, Eddie Van Halen, I think he Frankensteined his own kind of Strat-style guitar out of all bits in the guitar shop. So he doesn't have that sort of SG sound. But I think if you imagine that riff played on an SG, it's more or less E, A, and D. So it could easily be an AC/DC, timeless, simple pub rock riff, just done with so much panache and finesse that it's kind of... There's only one guy that can really play it properly, I think. What's that sound? And that David Lee Roth thing, he's got like this sort of overtone in his voice where he does like a squeak, and then there's a sort of whistle tone that comes in over the top of it that's so loud it defeats the main sort of tone of his voice. I think that was his calling card, really. I heard a later sort of David Lee Roth release when he was singing something cool about that one about the rainbow, somewhere over the rainbow bar and grill, that thing. I heard that recently, and it just, his voice was good on it. I mean, he sang it well, but it's just like without that weird overtone that's an anatomical anomaly, really, that makes him unique as a vocalist. Not just, I mean, he's a great performer anyway because of his acrobatics and all that stuff and his personality. But there's something in his voice that's just it might even be like a polyp or some sort of flap of skin or something that's creating an overtone. It's unique, and most people don't consider David Lee Roth to be the greatest singer, but there's something about him that's just right for this application. Nobody else does it better. And then Top Jimmy. Up tempo, loads of backing vocals on it. Best thing about Top Jimmy is when the guitar solo comes in and it does a sort of crazy horses, and there's all split harmonics and stuff. All these sort of techniques that you hear every time a guitar player from the late 80s picks up a solo. You know that you're going to hear that stuff, but a lot of it was pioneered by Eddie Van Halen. The way he structures his solos is like you've kind of a little run at the beginning before it starts, and then it starts and it's all like some bendy stuff. You can't really anchor yourself in something. Then you hear a bit of blues lickery, and then some really, really fast sort of arpeggio tapping and all this other stuff. It's I think he's a really distinctive player, sadly missed. He does all that stuff, you know. You hear that a lot. So he's in a minor key and he goes... He does all that. Yeah. Because it's weird how he sort of slows it down. It always kind of goes up to that sort of root, second, third, minor third. You hear that phrase a few times. Drop Dead Legs happens to be my favourite Van Halen song of all Van Halen songs. It's one of my favourite songs ever. I just love the... where the drums come in on a push. It's kind of way more sort of Led Zeppelin-y than you probably appreciate on first listen. You know when you hear drummers and there's the ones coming up which is going to have the big crash on it, and you know, okay, so it's the next section of the song or the revolution of the riff is going around. Most drummers go, but on that song he does it the other way around, like so the feel seems to happen after the crash, if you know what I mean. It's sort of like, it's just awesome. And obviously he's saying stuff about Drop Dead Legs. And there's a really great bit when it breaks down on a ride cymbal. And then he comes in on the... Love that, the pushed bass drum every time it goes round. It's just awesome. It comes in slightly before the one. It's lovely stuff. Lovely. Details like that. I don't know, it makes all the difference to me. Hot the Teacher. Everyone knows Hot the Teacher.
Oh, wow, man.
Amazing. There's a great riff in there. Yeah, that'll do. Yeah, that's how he does that. But it's finger and two fingers and a thumb, I think. I think that's how he does it, or he does. That might be that. Is it that? Van Halen is one of those things where I don't even dare try and learn how to play a lot of that stuff. It's a bit like Led Zeppelin. I resisted the temptation to try and learn all those things because I think it might shatter the illusion of how amazing and magical it is. But this is one of those riffs where it's irresistible to at least try it. It's amazing. How did he come up with that stuff? He's a genius, that's why. And how? What's next? Oh, yeah. The synthesizer is back. Yeah, another iconic synth brass patch. Not quite the same as the Jump On, but probably still an Oberheim for those of you who are synthesizer nerds. But you'll already know that. Synthesizer nerds only exist because of albums like this. I mean, this is what makes people want to play synth and makes people want to play guitar, makes people want to play drums and be frontmen. It's one of those bands and one of those albums where it just inspires probably a whole decade of musicians, really. These are harmonics. Is there nothing beyond him? Another preposterous guitar solo. A scale gone bad. And then... got a little bit of Queen Stone Cold Crazy about that riff, hasn't it? Da-ding-dum. Yeah, House of Pain is a mega jam out. There's about 3 different sections in it. Bags of riffs, bags of chord changes. There's a real jam out. There isn't a song on there that you'd describe as you know, an outright ballad. There's nothing on there that sort of changes the pace too much. It really is just a driving or a running album. Something to make you feel good, something to energize you, get your blood going. 1984. Van Halen. Justin Hawkins rides again. Again. 1984 is a gateway drug to all of the Van Halens. Enjoy. Like, subscribe, sign up for the alerts, and watch one of these 2 videos. Cheers. Keep rocking. Nice one.